Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As promised, I am going to show you now how to thin your paint down. So I've bought some bog standard emulsion. This is a vinyl silk. So I've never used this one before. I've also got a bucket to do the mixing in, and I have a paint kettle with some water. Now these are emulsion based paints, so they are water based. I also have a sponge as well to do some wiping up if I need to. I've got the spray gun ready, so basically what we need to do is empty the water. I always leave about half of it full of water when it's wet. So we detach that from the spray gun and get it ready for some paint. Now, in this Erbauer EPS800 it came with one of these, which is like a funnel, but it's actually a viscosity cup. So I don't know whether you can see that, but it has a hole in the bottom, and you basically put that in your paint and allow it to drain through, and you basically time it so you can get some sort of specific time of the amount of paint that's pouring through the hole. So you can work out, if you need to, how thin you need to make it. However, we don't really need to do that, get science with it, because we will be using emulsion based paint, so it's very easy just to run out if you need to. The other thing that came with it is some brushes and a brottle there, and an extra spray tip there. So this did come with a paint stirrer as well, which is also a dipstick. So it tells you how much you've got left in your paint can there. So it's about the right size for stirring it up. So you could just mix this in the can. Now we're doing quite a big area, so I'm going to mix quite a bit of paint ready to go straight in, so I can just keep pouring it in from the bucket. So the first thing you do when you buy paint is you look on the instructions to see if it's telling you you can use it for spraying. Now it says there application, so it says brush, roller or spray. Now most paints you can spray anyway, so it might not say spray. But it's always good to check, and a good idea is to just do this and see how gloopy it is. Now you could use the cup, so we'll just do that now actually. As you can see, it doesn't run out of the bottom hardly, so you know that is too thick to go in your spray gun. So I'll just empty that out for a second, and I'll just need to pop it down here so it doesn't go anywhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour some into this container here. Now this is just a fence and paint container which I've cleaned out. So it's always worth keeping some containers if you've got containers to do this kind of stuff. It saves you buying them. And then I'm just going to simply pour this about maybe a third of the way up. There we go. So I've used about a third of the paint out of the tub. So I've wiped that up. Now this is a 10 litre tub, so a third is about 3 litres of that. So we have a paint kettle here. And you might not be able to see this, but inside there are litre marks to tell you how much water or paint you've got inside it. So what we're going to do is, this is a 5 litre, so there's about 2 litres in there, and I need to do about 10 to 20% there. So what we need is about 300 mils of paint. So I'm going to start by pouring a little bit in first. Just keep checking You know, you don't need to do this a lot, but it's better to have it thinned down a little at a time rather than pouring all your water in at the same time. And the first thing you do is give it a good mix. So I'll just tilt the bucket so you can see what I'm doing. I'm mixing the water into the paint now. Now, you should be able to tell when it starts thinning down because it gets easier to stir and you can just feel the sensitivity in the stick there. So once again you can just lift the stick up and see how well it's pouring. Yeah, that needs some more water in, so I'm going to do that. And again, being careful not to put too much water in there. So I don't want it too thin, I don't want it running on the walls, I want it to hold on the walls. So again, just stirring it. You can use an electric whisk to do this, but emulsion is quite easy to mix up. So if you're using a solvent based one, then you might need to use some sort of a whisk attachment. Or if you're adding any colours into this, because you can buy like colour mixers, you can use them so it makes sure that it's all mixed in. The paint is thinning down a bit now, so once again do a little dip test. It's starting to run a bit freer now, so it's nearly there. I think it just needs a little bit more water. One thing you can do is again you can just dip your cup back in and see if it's starting to come through. And it's just about running, as I say, I think it needs a little bit more. It's just not there yet, is it? So we'll just rest that on this can now. Again, more water. Leave it upright because I can stir it quite a bit faster now. Laying it upright. So again, if I tilt the bucket and I do this again, it's starting to run off the thing. Probably put a bit more water in there. Some recommend about 30%, but again you have to rely on what paint you're buying as to how much water you're putting in, because like I said, you don't want this too thin, you don't want it too runny. You need to make sure you've got it just about right for the spray gun. The other reason I'm using another tub is because if you try to do this in the tub that you buy, you will end up overflowing it, and you might want any that's been diluted either. You might want some that's been neat. So I'll put a bit more water in this now. Preparation is everything in this job. There you go, that is starting to run a bit fair. Just put a drop more in there now. And hopefully that should be about right then. There we go. So, I'm just going to bit. So, use the cup again. This should confirm that it's flowing. If you look at that flow now, it's flowing through there quite freely. There's no breaks or anything in the flow. So that's a good indication that it's about ready for the spray gun. You can also make pretty little patterns with that on a piece of board if you attach it to a piece of string and then just dangle it from your ceiling, put your board down and let it run around like that. It'll make pretty little patterns. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So, next thing to do is put it in your spray gun. Now ordinarily you would be straining this, so I would recommend getting a strainer. Now you can buy like a flour sieve or something like that just to hold over the top, or a proper painters and decorators one, but I'm just going to pour this in because this is out of a fresh can, so I'm satisfied there's no bits of anything contaminated, but I would recommend sieving the paint before you use it. That then goes on your gun. And the next thing to do is start spraying. So do this in another video. So before I go, I want to mention as well that I've got a suit on. And there's very good reason if you are doing any spraying for that, because it will mist up and go everywhere, it will go in your hair and everything. Also, a mask. If you're using solvent base, probably need one of these. You could probably get away with one of those paper valve masks, but you can also get like the goggles that go with it. That would highly recommend one of them. I have some safety specs here, which I'm going to put over the top of my glasses because they'll mist up. Also, I would suggest getting some ear defenders because the machine is quite noisy. So yeah, if you are going to do any spraying, you need to be dressed PPE wise for it. So yeah, there you go. I will do another video on how to spray now and how to set the machine up, and that will be part 2 of this video. So I hope you enjoyed this first part. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.